were talking about basically some of the macro drivers for energy storage, both behind and in front of the meter.
Yeah.
Your colleague Chris Campbell was talking from the US perspective, but yeah, what's your kind of take on that as a kind of European, Middle East and Africa representative?
Well, for sure, the technological driver or the need drivers for Europe, Middle East and Africa, they are very similar to the US one. For example, the reduction of the cost of battery storage, which is making the projects more bankable, more and more attractive for investors. So that's one of the most important things. In Europe, Middle East and Africa, we live in a probably more complicated regulatory environment. So different countries will have different regulation, slightly different way to approach the same technical problem, okay? Or probably having slightly different technical problems, like frequency regulation in some areas of Europe is a big problem. In other areas is less a problem, but the trading and the time shift of energy is a big problem. So there will be different drivers, but overall the development of system delivering services in front of the meter will be stronger and stronger in Europe as it is in the US. Vertiv actually is a company which is coming from and having its roots in the data center industry and in the critical users industries.
Yeah. So not only got decades of experience in delivering UPS.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Not only UPS, but also, I mean, the complete infrastructure for data centers, but UPS, which are more a general purpose device, we have been providing them to hospitals, to air traffic control systems, to train traffic control systems. So wherever there are critical users, for who there is a case for investing in a UPS, which essentially is an energy management device, plus a battery storage, energy storage, okay? In the case of critical users, we have a huge installed base. Some of the installations are also quite old, so we have useful life of 10, 15 years. Of course, we take care of the maintenance of those devices, but then we have these battery banks that certainly needs to be replaced after the useful life.
Sure.
But essentially, being there used as I'm talking now of behind the meter. Yes. Because Vertiv is living behind the meter, so we are making very nice experiences and we have projects in the front of the meter, but our core customers are behind the meter. So we have a lot of battery storage behind the meter, which is literally sitting there waiting for something bad to happen to the grid, so mains failure, for example. But we know that as the grids become more and more and more reliable, especially in continental Europe or in UK, in the towns, in the cities, the mains supply is very reliable. So actually, those batteries are sitting there doing nothing 99% of the time.
Sure.
So we are realizing, and our customers are asking us to do more with their batteries. The interesting perspective is that we could have in behind the meter, we could have critical users and the today so-called non-critical users. I would say that electricity is becoming critical for everybody, but while the critical users already have a business case for investing in a UPS plus the battery storage, the non-critical users do not have that case. So the cost of downtime is comparable or lower than investing and maintaining a system like that.
Right.
If you can use the same device, the same battery storage with the proper sizing, probably a slightly bigger battery storage, and you can provide optimization services to the users. It can be optimization in the energy users and at the end a reduction of the energy cost.
Sure.
Or unlocking the access for them to ancillary services, you are actually adding to the business case. So these two things could happen. The critical users will invest more in battery storage to have a better case, to have a better investment case in the power protection. And customers who did not invest or haven't invested up until today in UPS, they might now be interested because the case is better, looks better. They can use better the asset. not only for a backup purpose, but also for something proactive, so becoming proactive consumers.
Sure. I mean, one thing that's quite interesting to me in terms of, I mean, I guess you could call it kind of a customer acquisition question to some extent, but okay, bear with me. In technology, you know, disruption is often just used as a catch-all term for something that's pretty revolutionary and changing. Now, one thing I've heard from a lot of the commercial and industrial energy storage providers is that one of the biggest problems they face is a desire to not disrupt existing operations. So if you tell someone they can save maybe, you know, 10 to possibly even 40% of their electricity, they might say that sounds great on paper, but I've got a system that's been, you know, I've got things in place that have been working for however long, and actually the risk of disrupting that is too much of a risk for me to take at the moment. Now, that's kind of interesting where it plays into a company like Vertiv that's already installed a lot of backup systems, and just wondering how you see that kind of piece play out, really.
No, definitely. I mean, this was our mindset as well, because we were only interested in providing resiliency and availability of the energy for our users. And of course, this remains the primary mission. So whenever we go to one of our customers, our primary mission is to provide them safe and secure energy, okay, under any condition. The interesting opportunity is that the technology that it is used by our products to provide the reliability to the load, it is very similar to a battery storage technology. So there is no difference between a battery storage inverter and a UPS. Actually, a UPS is double a battery storage inverter. One is taking care of the load. The other one usually is used to recharge the battery and to provide power to the load. And it is attached to the mains. So it's taking power from the mains. So it is a typical double conversion, as we call it. That it was a kind of a necessary evil, because whenever you have to convert energy from one form to the other, in this case is AC, alternating current from the grid, to DC for the battery storage, and back to AC for the AC loads, you lose energy. So there is a certain amount of heat rejection. Our units will use energy to work and to provide this protection. But by the simple fact that you actually have two converters, you can have one which is only and fully dedicated to the load, only taking care of the load, while the other one that usually is only operated as a battery charger, okay, it can be operated as a demand response device for the grid. So, in principle, the service level agreement remains the same with the customer. Okay? So it's all about how you control the device. So the guarantee that by adding this functionality to our UPSs, we will not depress the service level for the customer, it is in how we control reliably our device, because from a power conversion standpoint, the device is absolutely standard. It is the same that was sold nearly 25 years ago to the customer. Today, with the evolution, of course, they have become more reliable, more efficient, but what has changed is the control technology. So using high-speed microprocessors, DSP, digital signal processor, and modulation techniques. So today we are we came to a technological level where to add a demand-side DSR capability to one of our UPS is just a software modification. So in this way, we are very confident that we can preserve the service level agreement with our customers while providing other type of services with our devices.
Sure. And I mean, I think we were saying earlier on that just before we started filming that, you know, obviously the UPS proposition, including batteries, is one that, you know, your company and I guess a few others have done for decades.
Exactly.
But presumably the advent of battery storage and more, I guess more specifically advanced lithium-ion, presumably that's revolutionized your business.
Potentially, yes. Of course, as our customers are traditionally customers who are very interested in having a reliable technology, they have been using lead-acid technology, which is a particularly technology for the storage. Okay, they are much used to that. Today, we are going to our customer and explaining them that lithium-ion technology is as safe as the lithium-ion, the lead-acid technology. So the security implications are cleared and controlled. Okay, but from a demand-side response, they are much more suitable for higher cycling, so they can be used more. And also, respect to the lead acid, they are symmetric. So while lead acid are very good in providing energy, and they have to be recharged much more slowly, the lithium-ion can be discharged and recharged with similar, let's say, power. So they are more effective for symmetric use for example, with flexibility services. So we are promoting actually the lithium-ion technology with our core customers, either as a new form of storage for backup or for the ideal storage for both, for backup and for grid services. Clearly, the storage we are actually working with, we are quite agnostic in terms of the cell technology or the battery technology.
Right, yeah.
Also, in our tradition, the preference on the type of battery is expressed by the customer. So we are able to bundle with any type of battery.
Yeah.
The same for lithium-ion. So we are able to interface with different vendors and use effectively different vendors and integrate with their battery monitoring system, which is essential, for example, for the lithium-ion, is to embed the information in the database provided by the battery monitoring system into the UPS operation, so that the UPS can optimally and safely operate with the lithium-ion bank and provide the both services.
So, I mean, so you buy in the battery equipment and presumably the power conversion type equipment. And then, I'm just wondering kind of what aspects are developed in-house, and then also in terms of routes to market, whether you're actively seeking partners in any of those areas at the moment.
Well, Vertiv is a manufacturer, first and foremost. We provide a lot of services, which are maintenance services, of course, and also optimization services. In terms of the UPS's power management device, we actually design it from scratch, actually. So that's our baby in terms of hardware and software. And we are fully integrated. We have our own factories around the world. As far as the battery and the storage technology, we buy it from suppliers. And so this is the way where we are. Actually, our expertise is in the energy management device and in the control structure. So this is the route to market is very interesting. We work with the system integrators. We work with the main contractors. In some cases, we act as a main contractor. But of course, we have to work with professional contractors, specifically to provide, for example, the medium voltage infrastructure, because we work only in the low voltage environment. So when we have to bundle the medium voltage, we have to work with other specialized companies. Okay. Essentially, so we work with the indirect, let's say. With indirect go-to-market as a fulfillment, but to demonstrate the business case, we need to talk to the end users. So our go-to-market strategy is that work in any case with the end user, because it is the end user who will buy the system and buy the energy and operate the system. So demonstrate the case to the end user. Then, of course, we can work directly with the end user or through the contractor or through the installer or through the system integrator. And this is the normal go-to-market strategy. In this, for us, new world, which is the storage world, in front of the meter specifically,
Yeah.
we work with strategic partners as well. So we have a really combined approach, and we are forming strategic alliances
Okay.
with operators.
And I guess probably last question for today. Yeah, I mean, we were talking briefly earlier about obviously supplying UPS and other kind of wrapped power solutions to the commercial industrial customers over the years. You know, that's got you a good base and potential customers already. But you did say that you're targeting front of as well as behind the meter services with
Yes.
energy storage. Is that going to require a closer coordination with utilities, grids, regulators, kind of the bigger sort of infrastructure players, really, I suppose, as well as the users?
This is, I absolutely believe so. Okay. In terms of regulation and regulators, clearly we follow the evolution. Okay. But in terms of the utilities, we are also working directly with the utilities, participating in their schemes, in their flexibility scheme, like virtual power plants. We think that in certain, elaborating a bit geographically, there are areas in Europe which are more open to the initiative of companies like system integrators being independently funded, providing service to the transmission system operator, like UK, which it's a very interesting market for us. In other countries in Europe which are much more regulated, we think that the utilities will play a big role. So instead of having smaller companies setting up and attracting private funds and operate and deliver the services, the utilities will actually do that. So that's why we think that partnering with the utilities is of primary importance, especially in selected countries across Europe and Middle East, which are more regulated, and you need a higher critical mass to participate also into the ancillary markets.